Welcome back to part two of our conversation with Dr. Sandeep Shastri of Jagran Lakecity University. We continue our conversation exploring technological innovation in higher education. A curious question I have is, what would you say? And you can just respond based on your context in India. What would you say are some technological innovation that have been advanced since we pivoted to the remote learning?
Uh, uh, I think if I look at India, you now have especially in the last 2 years, you have a range of offerings that have come up to educational institutions, which try to help educational institutions to be able to leverage technology. And of course, I think Turnitin is the one which leads that process. But I think there is a lot today available. But let me make a point which could be a little jarring point on that, which is this. Very often I find that technology promoters in higher education promote technology in higher education not as a support, but as an alternative. And that's where that intimidation question comes in. Now, uh, if the technology support tries to tell you that all this can be done without your faculty, that all this can be done by you without having faculty. I think when that message gets spread, that intimidation of technology becomes more visible and apparent. I have always been telling technology service providers, make faculty the partners in promoting what you are doing.
Hmm.
Don't ever give an impression that you are providing something which will help an institution to replace faculty. You see? Now, can technology providers get a buy-in from faculty for what they are promoting? How do you do that? Let's remember, faculty have years of experience.
Sure.
Faculty have, over the years, learned how to dialogue with learners. Now, can technology providers leverage on that?
Hmm.
See, can technology providers, rather than going to institutions and saying, here is what we can do for you, can they sit and dialogue with institutions and say, can we discuss what we can do together? Can we discuss? See, my point is simple. Can technology related service providers allow faculty to take ownership for what they are asking you to? See, when you get this ownership from faculty that, yes, I want to do this. When you get that ownership from faculty, it becomes much easier to actually roll out that technology. Many times today, what is happening is, and I'm sorry to say this, technology providers think that they are superior to faculty.
Hmm.
Technology providers think that, oh, these faculty don't know too much. We will provide what they don't know. And this can be very, 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 very counterproductive for learning. Because at the end of the day, any technology provider, that's why I go back to my point, connect to IT, reconnect to HT.
Hmm.
That human technology, which involves faculty, student, is something that you cannot ever lose sight of.
Hmm. Do share really sharp on there, and I'm gonna maybe slightly stretch on that question. And I would like you to share with an example how technology providers or education technology companies can work collaboratively with let's say a science department to roll out a new technology. Can you walk me through that approach and how we can begin to foster better communication?
Now, at Jagran Lakecity University, we are collaborating with a lot of technology providers. In our program on journalism, in our programs on management, in our programs on law, we have a lot of technology related inputs which are provided. We have tied up with partners who provide us technological support. But we have been very picky and choosy in terms of the partners.
Mm.
Because we have told the partners, if I could put it very crudely, we have told our partners, we are not a platform for you to come and deliver whatever you want to deliver. We have told them, yes, we are a platform, but what is going to be delivered in this platform is going to be a combination of the inputs you have and the inputs my colleagues can provide. So I insist at Jagran Lakecity University that before any technological support is embedded into our learning process, that technological support providers have had a very long dialogue with my team, with my faculty, so that their inputs are also part of what is going to come as part of the technology provided platform. So when my faculty see that, they sense a feeling of ownership towards what is being done. That this is not an outsider coming to us and providing something. This is an outsider who is helping us provide what we also want to provide.
Yeah.
See, so for me, see, uh, a technology provider coming from outside telling me, look, this is how I can change things for you. Now, that is like indirectly telling me that you are not competent and therefore you need an outsider to do that, which is not true. You are only helping me to leverage it better. I have my capacities, I have my strengths, I have my people, I have my students, all of whom have a very high level of competence. What your technology is going to do is A, allow me to showcase that capacity, allow me to leverage that capacity, and allow me to enhance that capacity.
Mm.
If the technology provider tells me that, look, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, which you people have never done, I immediately close the conversation. How do you know what I have not done?
True.
Who are you to tell me what I have not done? Have you talked to me about what we have done? How do you assume that you have not done all this? So that's why I go back to my point on access, training, and dialogue.
Right.
See, how technology providers need to dialogue. In fact, I have found technology providers realizing that a discussion with my faculty helps them to decide how to position certain benefits that their technology related services can provide. And those inputs came from my faculty.
Mm. Very, 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 very insightful. And thanks for sharing that level of detail. I think that's one of the things every edtech company wants to hear in terms of how they roll out. And I think what you're stressing here is collaborating with the faculty, understanding the needs before preferring a solution. So I appreciate that input there. Now we're going to move the lens a little bit and look into assessments. We know that we've moved into remote learning, that some level of hybrid or blended learning, like you pointed out there. For academics who are looking to be innovative in their assessment practices, what are some strategies that you can share that would help them enhance the assessments?
Number one, I think if the pandemic has taught us anything, it has taught us that assessment needs to be continuous. Assessment needs to be on multiple parameters. Assessment needs to have several components within it so that stage by stage, phase by phase, you are assessing the learner's capacity to internalize the knowledge that you have provided. Point number one, I have always emphasized that as you teach a course, can we have a system where on a class by class basis, we assess the learning that has happened? How do you do this? I have started the practice, and by rotation, students summarize a class in the last 5, 7 minutes of a class. And in the next class, in the first 5, 7 minutes, another student will provide the summary of the previous class. And students are graded on these summaries they are provided, on the summaries that they provide, which means every day a set of students are assessed in terms of the learning that has happened. And not just the student who presents the summary is actually making the effort, but then others are also listening in. It's like a triple revision. The faculty discusses it, a classmate summarizes it in the end, and in the next class, somebody else provides you a summary of it. So it happens 3 times, as a result of which the learning can be more effective, and the faculty is able to provide inputs as to whether the faculty gets inputs as to uh, whether the learning has happened in the way it should have happened, and the faculty gets inputs on whether any correctives have to come in with regard to the learning. So this is one important tool that I use. Secondly, assignments, which I insist on across the semester, which is an important part of the assessment. Assignments are never straightforward questions. Assignments are all application questions. However much they go to Dr. Google, however much they go to any textbook, they will not get the ready-made answers to those questions. Those questions would require them to reflect on the learnings and then write based on those reflections. And Turnitin is there to help us to make sure that they have not cut and pasted from anywhere. And I try something else there. No two students get the same assignment. Every student gets a different assignment. So even if you have your WhatsApp group to chat with your classmates can't help you with your assignment because your assignment is different from the assignments of the others in the class. What does this need? This needs from me as a faculty a little higher degree of preparation.
Yes.
And when I come to online exams, can I make sure that my multiple choice questions cannot be inputted by my students into Dr. Google? The answer will automatically come.
True.
Can I make my multiple choice questions such that the answer is readily not available anywhere? Which again means, can I make it an application question? Can I make especially if it is online, can I make my examination an open book examination where let them refer to anything? It is an application question. Now, if this has to happen, two things have to happen. My faculty needs to be trained in being able to do this because it doesn't come automatically. My faculty, and we have done this at Jagran Lakecity University, my faculty have gone through workshops on how with online mode you can actually change and ensure integrity in the assessment process. At another level, it also involves sensitivity from the side of your students.
Yeah.
Who understand why these checks and balances are being put in place. So here are certain strategies which I know that my colleagues across the board have adopted and which I have personally tried, which has helped us maintain the integrity of the assessment system.
Yeah. Excellent. I want to applaud the your first strategy, which involves having students reflect and respond at the end of the class, coming back to the next class, and also trying to recall or remember what was taught, and also using that as an opportunity to provide just in time feedback and also feedback for the faculty to actually
And
identify.
make it part of grading. Make it part of grading. It's part of your continuous assessment.
Yeah, I think that is a fascinating method and strategy. I hope anyone who's watching this could. I think the biggest challenge there is if you're working in large classes, that might be a bit.
I have done that with a 120 student class. I have done it with a 120 student class. And so if you take 40 sessions of classes, then if three students do it every day, one doing in a group of two, they do the opening summary and one does the closing summary in a class of even 120, you can give everybody a chance across a semester.
Mm,
But I've always felt that this numbers sometimes is a mask to avoid what you don't want to do.
yeah,
If
yeah.
I could put it very
I
bluntly,
totally
if I
agree.
could put it very bluntly, they're saying that too many numbers. Now, too many numbers requires a little more planning. That's all. I don't think it's difficult to do it.
Mm, excellent. Thank you. We've been talking.
And I'm sorry, I'm being very brusque in saying some of these things.
No, no, no. I think it's good to hear because it will serve as an opportunity to challenge other academics to do the same and maybe reach out to you to learn about how you effectively manage that process.
I'll be happy to do a workshop for people of that if you so.
Excellent. I think that would be good. We'll take you up on that at some point. Just we've been talking about technological innovation, and we know we're now moving into the artificial intelligence and machine learning era, which means some things we've done in the past might slightly change. Um, how do you see AI machine learning influencing or changing how we learn and teach, especially how we apply research, learning, and teaching in higher education?
I think it's coming up in very, very big and important ways. It is coming up in assessment of institutions. It is coming up in assessment of learning. It is coming up in assessment of faculty. So, the whole question of how artificial intelligence allows me to check on keywords that are being used, how artificial intelligence, now today, to just give you an example, in the accreditation system in India, 60% plus of the evaluation of accreditation of an institution is done through artificial intelligence. You see, where uh, it is not a physical visit, but then the document you submit are not in any way evaluated by individuals, but is evaluated by artificial intelligence. So that's happening, no doubt. Uh, but I will make another point. Who is the one who develops the artificial intelligence at the end of the day? It is human beings like you and me. Now, now, the sensitivity of those human beings like you and me to what needs to be done as part of artificial intelligence is becoming increasingly important. What we are developing as part of artificial intelligence, is it reflecting? Is it responding? Is it catering to the reality that we have around us? I think is the important question we need to ask ourselves. Does this application of artificial intelligence help us reflect the ground reality in the situation? Now, that is where I believe those who create the artificial intelligence networks, the inputs they use, the training they have, and the dialogue they have become so important. So I am one for the use of artificial intelligence because it allows us to do many things at a quicker pace. But I just want to make sure that the artificial intelligence tools and techniques I use help me relate to the reality on the ground and do not provide me a perspective which is diverse from what actually happens on the ground. That's my only bone of contention.
Yeah, I do want to call out how you emphasize the need for artificial intelligence supporting or speeding up our process, as opposed to the current notion that artificial intelligence is going to take up jobs, which is not um, totally the case. So I think it also goes back to your point with regards to how we work in tandem with faculty in schools to understand. what the problem is, what the challenges are before we position technology.
My response to that would be artificial intelligence will take up jobs, yes, but we are moving in a 21st century world to a space where there are newer jobs coming up. So it's not that there will be a dearth of jobs. It is what becomes important is the retraining of people to be able to take on the additional responsibilities. I have often made this point. We don't have unemployed people in society, we have unemployable people in society.
Ooh,
We don't have unemployed people, we have unemployable people whose, whose skill set does not match the requirements of the world.
that is it. I think that's a really good way to sort of come to the end. But before we come to the end of today's conversation, which is regards to technological innovation in higher education, do you have any other thoughts on the topic from your area of expertise that you'd like to share?
I think what would be needed is increasing collaboration across institutions.
Hmm.
We have for too long been comfortable working in silos. I think it's important that we leverage technology to be able to collaborate. We leverage technology to be able to have a dialogue within institutions and across institutions. I think it's also important that what I referred to, this feeling among, very natural feeling among people, to feel that technology is so overpowering that technology is going to make us redundant. Now, that is a notion that needs to be addressed, and that is a notion that needs to be corrected by the right dissemination of information and by taking all stakeholders in the higher education space into confidence as you move forward in being able to leverage technology for the benefit of higher education.
Excellent. That's a really good way to come to the end of today's session. We'd like to say a big thank you to Dr. Sandeep Shastri of Jagran Lakecity University. Just want to say we've been fascinated and I think I've pleasantly enjoyed the insight you shared in today's conversation. Thank you so much and wishing you all the best in your journey and in being the Vice Chancellor of the university.
Thank you so much. I honestly did not do any formal preparation for the session, but then 4 decades of experience. I often say this. In the last 4 decades, more than 30,000 students have allowed me to learn with them in their classrooms. I don't think I have taught anybody, but these 40,000 young boys and girls have allowed me to learn with them. And whatever today I have reflected is the learning that I have derived and I have gathered in those interactions with these wonderful people with whom I have shared the higher education space.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.